you.
Thank you, Dexter, for reminding me that. Okay. So this is the popularity of agile methodologies and industry, not just in 2019 till date, the most widely used flavor of agile or framework of agile is Scrum. And the next level to it is today, because as I said, we started in the year 2001. And after so much experimentation, there are a lot of organizations who are scaling agile. So that's where your scaled agile framework comes into picture, which is SAFe. Nexus is another thing, which is a scaled agile framework. So SAFe is one of the most popular as part of the scaled agile frameworks in market today. And even within SAFe, they follow Scrum and Kanban. So Scrum is the most popularly used for not only development, but also in various other domains and in various other places. We use this in HR, we use this in finance, we use this in marketing and sales. So it is not just into IT. Just a hope that I answered your question. Anything further?
It's overwhelming. It's wrong.
Thank you. So now agile methodology, what were the expectations that industry or leaders had when we said, okay, we will move into agile? And people have their own expectations, right? Even yesterday, I asked about your expectation from the session. So leaders in industry had these expectations when we said we are going to move into agile methodology. So 71% organizations actually said practicing agile will expedite their software delivery. That was their main intent of getting into agile way of working. Because as I said, one of the biggest challenges that organizations were facing is they were not able to deliver on time, or it was delayed, say, from 6 months to 1 year or 1.5 years, where the customers also were losing interest. So that was the major challenge that they faced in traditional approach. And in order to overcome that, they wanted to expedite the software delivery. And today the market also had boomed or expanded in such a way that you have competitors every single street. Take 10 streets from your place, then you will have a competitor there. So that is how the market also has grown. So in that case, the industries were expecting expedite or they wanted a faster software delivery. And then 63% said in terms of ability to adapt to changing priorities. Of course, we all have gone through that situation, particularly in your case. How did you handle during COVID? Was it as usual, business as usual? There would have been some changes that you had to adapt to. Entire world actually started prioritizing changes during that period, even people who were very resistant. And there are pioneers in market who were not able to adapt to changing priorities. When I say they did not adapt, they are no more existing in market similar to how they were earlier. The pioneers are no more pioneers. Who comes to your mind? Which brand comes to your mind?
Nokia.
Nokia? Of course. Always we get this. Yes, Aisa.
Kodak.
Sorry, Aisa?
Do you know Kodak? Kodak brand?
Kodak, yes.
Yeah.
The camera.
Yeah.
Yes. How many of you have heard about Fast Track? When Uber and Ola came into picture, Fast Track was no more. They were pioneers in market few years back, at least in India. What were the challenges either for, yes, Dexter?
Friendster.
Friendster, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the people, these are the brands which did not adapt to the changing priorities. Anybody, this question when we ask in any country, any place, I've never stopped hearing about Nokia. The other brands come in and go out, but every place, irrespective of the country, irrespective of the place, irrespective of the group that I address, always I hear about Nokia. Why? Because they did not adapt to changing priorities. And do you know, they were the first in industry to start experimenting and researching about Android. They were the first in market. Unfortunately, what happened? Their attempt in terms of the Android research failed in the first time, and they didn't want to proceed further, and they went back to their usual way of working. In the meanwhile, their competitors actually ran across. It's just like the hare and the rabbit and the turtle race, which you spoke about yesterday. Nokia was rabbit, and they thought all others are turtles. They will never supersede us. They thought they'll take a small nap, but at last everybody took over them. Yes, Sachu, please go ahead.
No.
So this was another important aspect, 63% of the organization or industry moving towards agile way of working. And then it boosts productivity. That is the next one. Why is it boosting productivity? So you're not becoming task-oriented machines. That is not the intent of moving into agile way of working. But because the collaboration is improving, because the bonding between the people inside the team is improving, the productivity is also increasing. You're able to stay on the same page with your stakeholders, business stakeholders. How is it going to happen? We are going to see that as part of your Scrum events. How can I have the same language with my business stakeholders? Why is my customer still happy, which is making me boost my productivity? And then you're kind of enhancing your business because always there is growth. You're trying to adapt to the changes. So these are few most top rated expectations from the market, industry, and from the leaders when they move towards agile methodology. Yeah. Of course, as I always say, even yesterday I did mention, it is not fair to only talk about expectations, benefits, etc. Everything has two sides, similar to a coin. So always take it with a pinch of salt. So what were the challenges that had happened when adapting to Agile? Problem was broad organization reluctance to change. Somewhere some leaders felt, okay, my competitors are already in Agile way of working. We also will move into Agile way of working. And they didn't know how to do, what to do. And that is where they had issues, where they felt there were a lot of reluctance and resistance from the team. Inadequate leadership. I'll just finish this text and then I'll hand it over to you for your question. Inadequate leadership involvement. Again, here I'm very happy because not just Raj, though I have initially discussed with him, I also see Jason, all your other project managers being part of the session and being interactive right from day one. Right? So in many organizations, the most challenge that people faced were they had very inadequate leadership involvement. They just said, okay, this has to be followed, but nowhere they were available as part of the scene. They came sometime later in the game and then they started questioning. That is where there were a lot of discrepancies and people felt Agile didn't work for them. Varied process and practice among teams was another issue because, as I said, still in market, there are a lot of organizations, they call themselves as they are working in agile setup, but still they don't follow it to the T or they don't understand the essence of it. That's where it's a mixed baggage. There are organizations who doesn't want to change the language. They still call elements as meetings. They still call it as KPIs. They still call it as whatsoever they have been following in the past. They have not adapted to the new language. Even that caused confusion for people to know what methodology they were actually following. So these were few of the issues or challenges that organizations had when adopting to Agile. Yes, Dexter, I'll take your question now.
Yeah, actually, all of these challenges are a bit on the what I have experienced way back when I was working on the company. It's actually a bank. The bank is, that is conservative. So from waterfall they're changing to agile, so they need to change their the policies, like the approving of the deployment. There are too many leaders or manager to approve before, so it contradicts on the agile, the speed and the deliverables. So I think for now they need to change that, the policy, matching, aligning to the agile methodology.
Yes, Dexter, I'll take your point partially, okay? And this is where I'm saying, because we saw about faster time to market, People started saying in a banking setup, they started saying, okay, you go every 2 weeks, go live. See, in a banking, financial, and also in your domain, it is not feasible always because there is a lot of legal and compliance. Even in your case, depending on the country to which you're going to launch a particular feature or application, there is still some changes that you will have to make, right, with respect to legal and compliance. It is not common across all the countries. Agile is common, but what we are saying is we are giving you a framework. That's where we call it as a framework, which means there is a skeleton that is given to you where there are basic elements which has to be followed. However, you will have to build on top. Most of the coders here, the developers here know what a framework means. You all have been using frameworks, right? Different frameworks where you will have a base skeleton, but still there will be a lot of customization that you will keep making. I'm not saying the core elements has to be compromised. So in the case of banking, if approval is an issue, then there has to be a workshop that has to be conducted to understand what are the various approvals that has to happen today. What is the process? Say Dexter's point was in terms of deployment. So what is the current process with respect to deployment? How much time do we take for deployment? And now we are going to sit and discuss what has to be still followed, what is an overhead, and then make the decision. It cannot be just said, okay, you cancel all these approvals because we are into agile way of working. That is not a one size fit all. Because in banking, for every launch that has to happen, there is a legal and compliance component that has to be adhered to. Even if it is a small feature that is going to impact only one country, only 4 users are going to use that particular feature, doesn't matter, still it has to go through legal and compliance, or else they'll have to pay a hefty fine in terms of not abiding by the compliance. So that is where the challenge is. Dexter, did that answer your question? That's where I said I take your point partially, and then I've given you why we have to still consider that. I'm not saying a strict no or a strict yes to all that they follow, then that is not agile. So you will have to discuss in terms of to see what is an overhead where we are just following for the sake of following and where it has to really be improved. I don't see Dexter. Dexter, was that clear?
Ah, yeah,
I don't hear you anymore, Dexter. Okay. Thank you for that.
it's clear, it's clear. Thank you.
Sure. So even in your organization, when you start, there are few policies and elements. Just don't go and cancel it right away or don't keep that as is. Please have an attempt to start discussing what is an overhead and what is really required, and then make the decision. So what makes agile work? In terms, it is fun at work. This is where people's bonding increased. People felt truly motivated to come back to work. They had intrinsic motivation. It is no more an extrinsic motivation. I don't want to say you come to work all 365 days, I'll give you a hike of 20%. No, that didn't work. It doesn't matter if you give me 20% or 100%, I cannot come all 365 days. That's how employees will be discussing with the senior leaders. So I need intrinsic motivation for me to really feel like coming to work. So only when that collaboration is there, only when I feel that, yes, I am being heard, I am part of the system to achieve that common goal, then I feel to come to work with intrinsic motivation. When people started following Agile in the true essence and true sense, their morale actually increased. The team's morale increased, the team's morale improved. That's where they felt like coming back to work every single morning. Spirit of oneness, again, I associate it back to the team because now they got to know people as people. And they understood that they are all working towards a common goal, irrespective of their roles and responsibilities. It didn't matter. They had that spirit of oneness. Okay, we didn't deliver this. It's a common fall of the entire team. We delivered it. It's a common achievement of the entire team. That's how the language started changing. Improved collaboration. people development individually also increased because leaders were able to see what was the strength of every single individual, and they started focusing more on their strengths rather than on your weakness. Particularly people who are coming from management background, you would have heard about this 80-20 Pareto principle most of your lives. Right? So what did organizations start doing? What did leaders start doing? They started focusing 80% on the strengths of individuals, and they started honing their skills, upskilling basis their strengths, and 20% was spent on their weakness so that their weakness does not disrupt the entire flow or does not disrupt the deliverable. So that is how people's language, people's thought process started changing. Or else initially, I'm not sure how many of you people who have more than a decade and a half year of experience, initial days when you were in an organization, people mostly spoke about during your appraisal discussions with respect to what you will have to change, what you will have to improve, what you will have to learn. They didn't think about your strengths and weakness. Today, the appraisal system also in most of the organization has changed, where they focus more on your strengths and they have a bit, that 20% of the conversation on the weakness. So that is how the organizations has changed, which is helping in terms of the overall growth of the people as well as the organization. So these are few factors which helps Agile work in many organizations, irrespective of the domain that they come from. Few Agile PM tools. Of course, we all need tools. Everything cannot be managed manually. Gone are those days where you maintain the requirements in an Excel sheet. You have a requirement traceability matrix to map down in terms of what is the status, is it in to do, is it in progress, etc. Gone are those days. So from MS Excel, many organizations are moving towards a lot of application lifecycle management tool. We call it as ALM tool. We have Jira, who are again pioneers in market with respect to Agile adoption. There are a lot of other things like Monday.com today, which is another one which is upcoming. LeanKit, Bugzilla, Azure DevOps. There is also something called as Kendis. So there are a lot of things that are upcoming in market as part of your Agile PM tools. There is no specific recommendation as such in terms of stating you have to definitely use this particular tool. That is not the intent here. Use any tool which is supporting you to bring the 3 pillars which we will talk in today's session. If your tool is able to achieve those 3 pillars, we are good. If not, we will have to think about what are the tools that I have to enhance. Good so far. Any questions? Stop the screen share to see all of you. Any questions? Okay. Yesterday, one of the feedbacks in terms of what has to change or improve, I saw a couple of them asking for breaks. Definitely, we will have a break today. Do you want to take a break now, or shall I continue exactly on 1.5 hours? We started at 8, 9:30 a.m. IST. Can we take a break? Or do you want to take a break right now? Sehul, thumbs up is for break. Do you want a break right now or 9:30?
9:30.
Perfect.
50-50 is okay.
Okay, great. Others? 9:30 is okay. Perfect. Thank you, Ruchi, for that. Excellent. I see a couple of thumbs ups as well. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Kandiban. Fine. I'll continue if there are no questions. So now we are moving towards the foundational concepts of Agile. So far, whatever we have seen, we have just seen about how Agile evolved, what was the starting point, who actually coined the word Agile, and then what are the different flavors, what are the commonalities in industry, what is maximum used, which flavor. And also we did talk about what are the expectations from industries, leaders, and also what were the challenges in terms of adopting to Agile methodology. Finally, we did talk about the benefits of Agile in terms of how Agile works. And for your organization, if Agile has to work, it is not just with your leaders. Each and every one of you has a role to play. The more you're being collaborative, the more you respect people, the more you know people as people, the more you think and understand that it's a common goal and you start working towards it, that is when it becomes fun at work. That is when you will have the spirit of oneness. That is when your productivity is also going to skyrocket. If even one of you in the loop is going to miss, then there will be a complete disruption in terms of the agile adoption. That is where we are giving the training for all the members who are going to be part of this agile adoption journey. So, as I said, you are all important. You all have a role to play to make this work for you and your organization. Now, traditional versus agile, what was the paradigm shift? Where did industry feel that big difference from what they were following earlier, irrespective of the sequential one? So, in waterfall approach, what had happened is the features were always fixed. You had requirement documents. Your requirement documents were always fixed. Your resources and schedule was variable. When I say resources, the people involved, the technology involved, everything was variable. Because you had people coming in and moving out left, right, and center. Initially, only BAs and architects were working together. And slowly, once the requirement documents were finalized and approved, BAs moved out, the product owners moved out. And then we had development leads and developers coming into picture who worked closely with the tech architect. And then the tech architect also slowly moved out with very less percentage adoption to the team. And then only it was developers who were taking care of it. And slowly over a period of time, the testers came into picture. Before the testers came in, the test lead came. He got some understanding. And then the testers came in. Then he or she understood certain things. And slowly the developers towards the bug fix stage, the number of developers count actually reduced. So there was always movement with respect to resources. That is where we said resources were variable. Then the schedule. We saw the shunt effect yesterday. You all would remember, right? You said design is going to take 4 weeks, but you ended up doing for 5 weeks. You said testing needs 4 weeks, but we reduced it to 1 week. We said we will deliver it by the end of Jan, but it always moved for another 3 months, 4 months, depending on the shunt effect that you had. So the variabilities that waterfall had was resources and schedule was variable, and your features, what you wanted to develop was always fixed. That is where there was a concept of change management. There was a separate process with respect to change management. Any new change has to go to the change management council or the committee. They will go through, they will have to approve, and then it has to be added as a requirement. It always was called as CR 1.1, 1.2, etc. Anybody here worked in that culture? Texter is smiling. Sachu has worked, yes. So most of us, yes, Prabha. Okay. So Prabha also has worked on it, and definitely Jason would have seen that as part of his experience. Right? So this is how waterfall worked. And what was the paradigm shift that Agile brought into the industry? It was just the reverse. It became an inverted triangle. Agile said, you fix the resource and schedule and keep the features variable. That is where the team size became fixed. Your team size is always fixed in Agile methodology. Your schedule in Scrum, when we are going particularly, your schedule is very fixed. It's going to be only a 2-week window or a 3-week window, whatever we are going to choose as your sprint rhythm. So your schedule is also fixed. When you say you're delivering it on this particular date, every month I'm going to go live. If that is the frequency that you're going to set, that date is not going to change. Every month, because your organization, because your domain follows a culture of doing deployments, production deployments over the weekends, non-business hours. So what you will do, your schedule is always the 3rd or the 4th weekend is when I go live. This will never change once I fix it. What will change? How much work is going to be delivered in this window? That will vary depending on the effort, depending on the complexity of the features that you are working in. It might be 2, it might be 3, it might be 1, doesn't matter. And it is always the change in features because that is variable, whereas your schedule and resources are fixed. So this was the paradigm shift that people brought in, which kind of helped a lot of organization to save a lot of cost, time, effort, which helped them to also retain their customers. See, the major factor why we say customer centricity, even yesterday I spoke about benefit as customer satisfaction. Why are we all striving for customer satisfaction? Because of the retentionship. I don't want to serve a customer once and then keep looking for new customer. Instead of adding a new customer, I'm happy to retain the customer and give them continuous service. That will be more beneficial than adding a new customer. Of course, new customer is beneficial. I'm not saying a no. But retaining the customer is even more beneficial because they know the value, you know them better. So it is always good to retain the customers. In order for that, customer satisfaction and customer centricity is important. And only with this paradigm shift, industries were able to achieve that. Because they did not go over budget. In waterfall, they went over budget because of frequent changes in resource and schedule. Suddenly, towards the end of their plan said they will have only 2 developers and 4 testers in the last month. But because there is more work that is yet to be developed, what had happened, the resource count actually was maintained as 4 developers and then 4 testers. So the budget also kind of crossed. Such you experience such scenarios as part of your experience? Prabha, anything that you would like to share from your experience on this?
Oh, no, I was a part of development team at the time.
Okay.
I experienced this one, Mani, most of the times, especially when there is a 9-month project delivery or like 1-year project delivery. We always plan with huge number of developers, and then we say like, okay, we are phasing out. We are releasing 2 resources, 3 resources, and finally we will end up in adding like more resources at the end. And in the end, like we will say, customer will say like, we are not going to release the payment because you are not delivered yet.
Yeah.
So I face this problem.
Definitely, Sachin. And it also matters, right? And when you are towards the end, you will need more hands on deck, and also you need more experience on deck. So you will need a senior resource, but for senior resource, the payment will not be provided because you've already exhausted the budget. So there was a crunch. So that also became a challenge for many organizations. So they had people with lower experience, but the challenges were not being identified, or they were not able to help with respect to the challenges. So that also became a huge problem. So all these became a vicious cycle. In your coding language, if we have to say, it became a deadlock state. One after the other, it all triggered where we kind of ended up in a soup situation where we were not able to move any further. And when Prabha said development, she would have also faced always towards the end, when you gave it for testing, testers would call that as an issue, but developers would always say, no, this is what we were asked to do. And then the testers will refer some document. Right? We all would have faced this. And because of this also, there was a lot of time delays because the document, whoever has returned the document is no more associated to the project. So there was a lot of wait time and lead time or ideal time to get the clarification. So this is what the issue in terms of having the triangle where your features were fixed, your resources and schedule were being variable. And that was taken care when we had a paradigm shift of inverted triangle where your features is always fixed. Your scope will always be fixed. When I say scope will always be fixed, you're all going to have a question when we are talking about it during events and also the Scrum, Agile Manifesto. Okay, I'll wait for your question even before I answer that. So remember this, here I'm saying the scope is fixed. Okay, and I want you all to ask me a question when I'm talking about one of the Agile Manifesto and also during the events when I touch upon those parameters. Now, with that, I'm moving to the next one. Fundamental concepts. What exactly are we enjoying from Agile, or what exactly we will have to follow? One most important aspect is change is inevitable. I said you yesterday, expect the mess and adapt to the mess. Nowhere we are going to say, no, I can't accept this. Go via the CR route. There is no concept of CR in Agile way of working. when Dexter was grinning when I said about the change management. There is a separate committee, and then people put change request inside. There is no more such concepts. And now it is going to squeeze away the effort of all the BAs, Sachu, Isa, Sneha, all of you, in terms of how are you going to maintain the change when you're writing your requirements, right? Second aspect is react versus respond versus proactive. What is the difference between these three? Let's hear from you. What do you see as a react versus respond versus proactiveness? Yes, Dexter, go ahead, please.
Yeah, react is the when you encounter it's the result of the what is the sudden event. So you react. You respond. You know what to do. So you respond. You know the what is the situation. So you respond or the question. Anything. And proactive is like a future actions. You have mitigation. Uh, you do things before it go worse or have a problem.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Dexter. Anybody else?
What I see is one is we see there's an issue and we proactively take initiative. That is proactive. Other is response is you are given with this task, then you do that. So that is what I see.
I think I'm going to say a story here, and I want you to identify react versus respond versus proactive. Okay, and most of you would have heard about this story. So there was this restaurant, and they were very famous in market. Many people wanted to go to this restaurant. That's how famous they were. And there were a group of ladies who were having their kitty party there. They had a get together. They were kind of enjoying. They were kind of discussing on a lot of their things, both personal and professional aspects. And it was a group of about, say, 15 ladies who were sitting on a table, and they were enjoying the chat and also the meal. Suddenly, one of the ladies spots that one male is entering into the same restaurant, and he takes a table just across them. Okay. He sits and he orders the meal. All was well. These ladies continue their chat. The man was reading a book, and also he was waiting for his order to be delivered. Now, the restaurant is busy. These ladies were also chatting. Still, the person is reading a book, how focused he was. So, with all these drama that is going inside the restaurant, one of the lady spots a cockroach. Very famous restaurant, but still there is a cockroach, okay? And once she sees the cockroach, she starts screaming. And as the scream loudens with one lady, the other lady joins, then the other lady, because everybody spots the cockroach and everybody are joining the scream. And now the cockroach also wants to play its own role, right? So it flies and it comes exactly to these ladies' table. And now they're not sitting anymore on the chair. They're all there standing on top of the chairs, screaming. And all the tables, all the waiters, they're all having fun in terms of looking at these ladies. Now, after some time, after having its own fun, the cockroach flies back again to the table which is across these ladies' table, where the man was sitting and reading a book. And when it came there, he very coolly, he just saw that. And with the book that he had, he just hit the cockroach. And then he started reading his book. He continued to read his book. Now, in this story, yes, Kavya, go ahead, please.
Actually, that's nice story. So
Were you seeing yourself, Kavya?
as I seen hitting the cockroach.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do always ladies at the house. So standing on the chair, lady started screaming, right? So that is the reaction part, maybe.
Wonderful.
Then they gave the response by standing on the chair. And the last part is proactive. That is man he hits the cockroach.
Okay. Wonderful, Kavya. Thank you. Yes, Prabha, please go ahead.
I mean, the ladies who are jumping or moving, that is the reaction, and respond is the one, the male who responded, like he just killed that cockroach with the book, right? That is the thing. He just responded. Mm, I don't see any proactive thing here.
You don't see any proactive. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Who else? Was that Dexter who raised his hand or somebody else? Yes, Dexter.
Yeah, proactive. I see the one lady arrange the chair
Uh-huh.
when the male come in, and also when the male, actually he knows that there's while he's reading, he's not unaware of that. He is aware actually that he's just waiting for the cockroach to land on his table and eat it.
Okay.
So a reaction, the lady when they see saw the cockroach, they react and respond. The waiter respond on the they laugh on the girls. Fun. They watch it while he's screaming. So that's my observation.
Thank you, Dexter, for that. So, say, I always don't say right and wrong. I'll give my piece and then my 2 cents, and then you will be able to understand what you have to course correct, right? So, react, definitely the lady screaming in terms of seeing the cockroach was a reaction. Where is that reaction coming from? It is coming from their own fear. They didn't really want to create a scene. They also wanted to maintain the decorum, but however, the fear made them to scream. Okay, so reaction always comes from some of your own fear, beliefs, etc. So that is where the react part comes from. Now respond. Where is this coming from? He is in a state of calmness. That is where I said, irrespective of the ladies chattering, irrespective of the entire restaurant being busy, the man was focusing on his book, which means he is in the state of calmness. And that was the reason he was able to respond to it. He was able to hit the cockroach and then continue with his reading. If you have a baggage, if you're still in a state of fear, you will never be able to respond. You will always get into the reactive mode. Because we all would have read, right? That's how your fight, flight, fight mode gets on. It's scientifical, it's biological. Nobody can change that just because we are moving into agile way of working. If I'm a person, always I am in a flight mode. So I see a dog and then I run away from there. I will only react. I'll never respond. So the man actually responded because he was in a state of calmness. There was no baggage that he brought. He was always cool. He was just focusing on whatever he did. So that came response. Proactiveness, I did not even say as part of the story yet because I was not even completing the story. Because I saw hands raised, I started asking the questions. And it was also intentional. Why? Proactiveness always comes. Now this has happened. Now what is the restaurant's proactiveness? I'll make sure that I do proper pest control so that the same thing doesn't repeat. I'll have to increase my frequency at which I do pesticides and pest controls so that it doesn't disturb the calmness, peacefulness of my clients. So that is the proactiveness from the restaurant owners. What would be the proactiveness from the ladies who had that fear? Either they will never come back to this restaurant again, or they will ask someone else to go check on the restaurant after some time before they even visit. These will be the two things that they could do. That is the proactiveness that the ladies would do. What is the men's proactiveness? Nothing for him. Because he was already in a state of calm. He is always able to respond. But if he is going to bring women along with him the next time, he will make sure very proactively whether there is a cockroach or not. He will not dare to ask that question to that lady, whether she is scared of cockroaches or not. Instead, he will make sure that he takes proactive measures before he brings in the lady. So these are the different proactiveness. So now why are we talking about this in Agile fundamental concepts? The reason being, there will be a lot of situations when it comes to deliverable where we tend to react. There might be questions coming from, is this done? Did you complete? Are we aligned with the delivery date? Usually that is how project management works, right? We all get questions of this sort. I gave you a work, is that completed? Now, the reaction may be with respect to the person who is being asked, or basis your response, the answer that you provide, the person who questioned you also can react. Agreed? There are two kinds of reactions. There are two kinds of responses that is going to happen. Third thing is proactiveness. So where do you want to fit in? As much as possible, as part of Agile methodologies, we say don't get into the react mode. When we are all human beings, you only said that we have fight, fight, flight. Then how do you think that we will not react? Is it even possible for human beings to stay always in a very state of calm mindset that we don't react?
Not at all possible.
No, it is possible. Okay. Anybody else? Then why are we even talking about it in Agile?
Mhm.
Don't drink too much coffee.
Sorry, Expeditor, don't drink too much coffee, is it? There are moments that are going to push you to the state where you want to react. And that is where we want you to see people as people. Make it proactive, make it conversational. Ask them what is the challenge that they have that this is not completed instead of reacting. This has to be mindfully practiced. So far, in either parts of our life, professional and personal, why do I always bring these two aspects? They are both integrated, right? Something happens at professional front. When I go back home, of course, there is some scars that I'm going to show off. The vice versa also is going to happen. I cannot just like that say, okay, as I remove my ID card, I'll forget all that. I'll do a shift delete of whatever has happened at work. And then I'll be a very different person when I'm there at home. No, that is not practically possible. So we are going to be very mindful to practice how do we control our reaction and how do we make that conversational so that it becomes responsive and also proactive. So you get to hear from your people in terms of what they really need. This covers your expectation in terms of communication. And also somebody said, what is a better way to work with my team once I learn all these things? So these are small things that you're going to make it better. Small steps, which gives you a very better result or a different result from what you experienced. With me so far, any questions on this? We are at 9:31. So I promised for a break at 9:30. I'm already 1 minute delayed. So we will take a quick 10 minutes break. Does that work for everyone? Yeah. Perfect. So I'll start the timer and then you can leave for the break so that we all assemble back by 9:41. Just a second. So here is the timer and starts. Yeah, see you all in 10. Okay, welcome back. Do we have everyone? We'll give a few seconds for Murli, Isa, and Ruchi. Thank you, Murli. Hello, Ruchi. Perfect. Welcome back, everyone. Hope this break helped, and we'll continue for the future sessions as well. We'll just get started again. So we saw till the second point in terms of react versus respond. Accept or reject the change. This is another area that we'll have to focus in terms of either accepting the change or rejecting the change. Why? Because not necessary that all the changes has to be addressed. We will see that in the later aspects as well. You will be asking me a question, as I said, when we get into the manifesto part. Agile is inversely proportional to inertia. What does this mean? Why is Agile inversely proportional to inertia? Any ideas, any thoughts? What does inertia mean?
Do nothing.
To do nothing? Yes, Sehul.
I guess it's inertia means like the thing that moves itself. But in this one, it's everyone, it's a joint venture. So everybody moves the task slowly by themselves.
So in this context, inertia means a tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged. So that's what inertia means here. So I think Sachu did mention that it is about to do nothing. Inertia means to do nothing. Absolutely. So when we say Agile is inversely proportional to inertia, which means if you're in the tendency to do nothing, then Agile adoption doesn't work. Agile will not work for you. If you want to remain unchanged, you want to be who you are, how you are, what you do today, you want to continue to do the same way, whether it helps or not, then again, it will not help you in terms of the Agile adoption journey. I'm not saying everything has to be changed. There will be few tweaks here and there depending on the common goal that you all wanted to achieve as a team and as an organization. So there definitely is going to be some changes in terms of how you see things, how you approach things, and how you deliver things. So Agile is inversely proportional. So let's all gear up and make ourselves prepared so that we start enhancing and embracing these changes that are coming our way. Lean startup mindset, which is nothing but continuous experimenting, where in Agile we say you start trying things. And I'm going to touch upon this aspect when I talk about the 3 pillars as part of our training content. Okay, so make a note. If I'm not touching upon, you can definitely ask a question, or if when I'm talking about it or explaining it during the 3 pillars, if that doesn't answer your question, I want you to really raise your question so that I can keep things clear for you. Okay, in terms of continuous experimenting, I'll cover it as part of the 3 pillars of the Scrum framework. So I want you to make a note of it now. Okay, with that, I'm moving ahead. So this was supposed to be a break. We completed it. So a quick recap in terms of the Agile waterfall aspect, building incrementally. Why we say building incrementally accelerates value delivery? So in waterfall, we have everything in a phased approach. They were sequential. Each took their own time. They took months to weeks. So what did happen? That delay.
Well, that's never a good sign.
Hope I'm audible now.
Yes.
So what I was saying was with respect to waterfall and also in terms of Agile. In Agile, we say, just a second, I'm trying to figure out my slides. Okay. Yeah. So in waterfall, everything was a phased approach. So each had their own weeks to months timeline, which delayed their overall delivery of value. When we say incremental value delivery, that is going to help us also help the customers. So what is that incremental delivery all about? Everything is going to be in a circle where within a single period of time, you will work on all the phases. That is your requirements, your analysis, design, development, testing, everything will be done in this smaller increments. That is where after end of every iteration, there is going to be an increment that gets delivered. So the boxes that you see in yellow color are the increments that are being delivered, and all the cyclic ones that you're seeing, the cyclic image that you're seeing, that means every single phase is completed within that entire cycle. We are not taking a phased approach. So this is where we are increasing or accelerating or fastening the value deliverable, and this makes our customers happy. Okay. Now coming to Agile and Scrum fundamentals, as I said, Agile practices, it is comprised of 4 values, or we also call it as a manifesto, and then there are 12 principles. So when I spoke about the Agile flavors, there are different flavors, similar to your ice cream flavor. The commonality for any flavor of Agile is these 4 values and 12 principles. Any Agile practice that you use, they follow or abide by the 4 values and 12 principles, which helps them to respond to change. So this is the value, which is also called as Agile Manifesto. Now, what is this all about? Even before looking into this, I'm going to just ask a question and you are going to answer in terms of what is your understanding. When I say I like apples over oranges, what does that mean? I like apples over oranges. What does that mean?
Preference.
Preference, okay. Anywhere is that meaning to somebody stating that I will never eat oranges? Yeah, Jason, I saw you unmuted. Please go ahead.
Well, if I heard you said you like apples over oranges, which means you would like both, but you prefer one over the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I like both, but still I prefer apples more when compared to oranges. Yes. Sachua, I saw you unmuted as well. Anything you would like to share? All good. Okay, Dexter.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. So you come to a choice, either one of them, but you like that one, so you choose the your best for you, which is
And
apple.
perfect. And why suddenly am I deviating from agile training to an English communication training? Is because in industry, these manifestos cause lot of issues in terms of agile adoption. This is where people started having their own perceptions, their own assumptions, which led to a lot of challenges in the market, in the organization, as well as to the people as part of their particular industry. So what this says is whatever is there on the left is something that I'm going to give more emphasis when compared to those on the right. That doesn't mean that whatever is there on the right, I'm going to avoid or neglect. So when I say individuals and interactions over process and tools, my emphasis, my priority, my preference is going to be more towards individuals and interactions rather than process or tools. Nowhere Agile is stating that you should not follow a process or tools, then definitely we will not even be there in this training, right? If Agile says so. Agreed? Clear? I want you all to be on the same page. As I said, that was the intent of going back to an English communication class for one statement. The reason being, this led to a lot of confusions in terms of Agile adoption in industry. People started saying that working software over precise documentation or comprehensive documentation. What people said was, Agile said no documentation. So no more in my projects, I will do any documentation. That became a challenge in many industries. Sachu is smiling there. And I think he was part of, he's a victim or he played the other side of the table. Which one, Sachu? Were you a victim or were you were on the other side of the table?
No, I was other side of the table.
Okay, good to hear that. So hope that got clarified right now, Sacha, for you. Okay, Chris, yes, please go ahead.
Just a quick question. Um, when this agile is in place in the production, are we going to have like a weekly meeting to discuss all the issues, tickets of everyone?
Yeah, we will get there when we are talking about the Scrum events, Chris. I'll introduce you what are the various discussions that you will have, and in each discussion, what would be the agenda, what would be the time. I'll give you the detailed run through when I'm talking about the events, Scrum
Okay.
events. Yeah, just make a note of it, and if your question is not getting answered, just bring it back again. That will not be there as part of today's session. I'll just introduce you to the framework of Scrum today. Probably tomorrow and day after is where we cover a detailed events aspect. Yes, Dexter?
So so Agile will on the left side, right? Over the right side. So you mean to say, uh, on the right side is not we Agile will still do that on while we doing the Agile methodology,
I'm not
or
able to.
we are doing only the left side,
We will
or
do
combine
both. We will do both.
both.
We will do more of what is there on the left when compared to the ones on the right. Now you will become a situational category player. Okay?
So,
What your
so it's
situation demands.
so it's matter of priority, and no matter of what is uh are we this manifesto is come up to serve one goal, to deliver as per schedule, right? Is that it?
No, this is not even talking about deliverables, right? This is more focusing on what are the characteristics that you will follow, what are the value system that you'll follow. Say, as a human being, when we ask what are your value system, people will say, honesty is my value system. Time is something that I value more. So each individual will have their own value system. So when we start following Agile, any framework, you will have to follow these values.
So this is more on about time, right? About the schedule.
No, it
That's why
doesn't
we come
point
up
out
on.
anything. It doesn't point out anything. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying. So each parameter, each value here focuses on a certain element. When I say individuals and interactions over process and tools, I'm saying give more focus for people as part of your teams. Have more collaboration, have more interactions with them rather than assuming things. This brings back to Jason's expectation in terms of communication. I need an approval from Jason for some deployment. I send out a mail. That is the process that I follow. But what I'm saying is, as part of Agile, rather than just sending out an email, send out an email and also immediately have a conversation with Jason to talk about what is the importance in terms of getting that approval right now. Talk to Jason, get that done rather than waiting for Jason amidst his busy schedule, looking into 100 different mails and then giving an approval. Your mail would have been sent sometime morning hours of yours. That would be his midnight. So by his morning time, he would have got 100 different mails. So that would have been the least one.
okay. So as far as my understanding on this manifesto, so that the thing is that the goal is to do the things you do, your task, as fast as possible, immediately to finish it. So like for instance, you will work on the software on the second, over the working on the precise documentation, right? So you can finish.
I am yet to explain all the four things, Dexter. Just hold your thoughts on that. I will explain
Okay.
all the four values in short, and then we will take your questions on that. I have not even touched the first one yet. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
only one element that I've said so far is I want you all to be on the same page that Agile is not saying whatever is there on the right hand side will not be followed. That is not the intent. The only intent what Agile says is we will give more emphasis, more focus to what is there in the left when compared to the right. That doesn't mean I am nullifying or I'm saying stop doing whatever is there on the right. If you're following some process and tools, don't follow. No, that is not the intent here. That is what I'm trying to say. And that is the only thing that I've covered as part of manifesto so far. I haven't spoken about each and every single manifesto yet. So far, everybody on the same page. Thank you, Kavya, for that. All clear? Now, when I say individuals and interactions over process and tools, what do I mean? As I said, an example, I need some approval. I need some, say, even for your own deployment, right? There are few deployments that you still do during the freeze window. You would have had some freeze windows, right? But still there would be something that you'll have to do. Or there might be some hot fix that you have to deliver it immediately. There was a release over the weekend. You have released it, no rollback, all good. And then Monday morning, your time, there is some bug that is getting reported. So immediately, if that is a stopper, you immediately work on that and then you redeploy certain elements. Don't you all do that hotfix? So for that, you take some approvals. So what happens? That is a process that you follow. If at all there is a hot fix and if the SLA has to be within a day, within few hours, I take an approval is the process that I follow as part of my organization. Now, what am I doing? As per the process, I'm not just sending out a mail or you have your mantis where you raise the ticket. Correct? Say for Raj or for Jason to approve that. Instead of just doing that, I will do that and I'll also have a conversation with them so that that doesn't get lost amidst their busy schedule or amongst the other 1,000 different elements. This is just an example. I'm not saying you're not doing it. You might already do this, but you're going to follow this on day-to-day job as well, not just for these hot fixes. When there is something that is there in a team where I am stuck, I will start discussing about this. Where will I discuss? That we will see it as part of our events. I will not wait till the last day and say, sorry, this is not working. I have been trying for the last 10 days, but it didn't work. Day one, I try something. It didn't work. I'm going to tell my team that this is not working and it is challenging. I am blocked here and I'm working on few other scenarios. Now it is time for my other team members to chime in and then help me in terms of overcoming that specific blocker. So we want you to interact as much as possible. That is the intent of this particular manifesto or the first value that we are talking about, individuals and interactions over process and tools. Second one says working software over precise or comprehensive documentation. What is this all about? Go back to yesterday's story where you all closed your eyes and then you visualized going to a shop to purchase a new mobile where you only found the box with user manual and the chargers. You were not a happy customer, right? So what were we all expecting? We were expecting a workable product inside it. That is your mobile phones. Similarly, your users, because you are into development, your users are expecting some component which they could start using. Now, how many of us here have purchased mobile phones either via online or from a physical store? How many of you have purchased mobiles? Either in person or using online. Okay, Expedito has done. Okay. Almost most of you. Okay. Now, whenever you buy a new mobile, there is an instruction that the salesperson gives you. One instruction which is very common when you purchase a new mobile. What is that?
Warranty.
Warranty is, of course, in terms of the usage of mobile. Yes, Chris.
You need to charge it first at least 10 to 18 hours before you use it.
Absolutely, Chris. Bang on. So the instruction in terms of your usage is you will have to first charge it for a few hours before you start using the mobile. That's the first instruction that you get from the salesperson once you purchase. How many of us really do it? What do we all do once we buy a mobile phone or once we receive our package from Amazon or Flipkart? What do we all do? Yes, Chris.
Video the unboxing of the product.
We immediately unbox the product and you video it. Okay. And once you take out the mobile phone, do you really put it in charge? Only charge?
No, you use it right away.
Jason says we use it right away. Yes. And I heard someone else as well say that. Prabha. Okay. Yes, Kanishka.
Yeah, but the new phones does not require you to fully charge and straight away start using it.
Yeah, that is there still on high-end mobiles, Kanishka, not on every mobile that we purchase from the market. Still, there are models where we are supposed to charge before we start using. So on the general terms, charging is something that we will have to get it done. But even in those models where they precisely instruct us to charge before use, we tend to put in charge. However, we start using it. Why? Because we are all more intrigued and we want to start using, which is your working component, working software. We don't bother about the user manuals that is there. The same situation, the mobiles you're using, say for 6 months, 7 months, or even years together, there is some issue that pops up. Suddenly your mobile phone heats up. Suddenly your mobile phone turns off and then automatically restarts. When such situation occurs, what do you do? Yes, Dexter?
Yeah, actually, after purchasing the new cell phone, you immediately test it all the features of the cell phone. One if one of which is has an issue, you immediately go back to the store to ask for the replacement or what is the issue. If there's an issue, you replace it. So
Correct.
you want a new
So
one or anything.
correct. So for the new one, you do the testing and then you go back to the store and ask for a replacement. Perfect. Now you have been using this for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is, right? Suddenly you find some issues with your mobile phone where it automatically restarts. Suddenly, whenever you get a call, your mobile automatically restarts. You're not able to attend the phone. Or at times it heats up. Suddenly your mobile phones are so heated. It's hot. Or there is some other issue that you're facing. What do you do immediately? Don't just say that you go and purchase a new mobile. That is the latest trend. I'm asking in general.
Look for the reason.
Yeah, Prabha, you look for the reason. And where do you look for
Google
it?
it for the reason. No,
Google it for the reason. Wonderful. Okay, you Google it for the reason. Excellent. Chris?
I check the warranty.
You check the warranty. Okay. Fine. So either we Google it or we kind of check the warranty. If there is some issue, then how do I get it replaced? Okay. Anybody, have you ever gone into the user manual to see if there is anything mentioned about the issue that you're facing? Now, Ruchi says, oh, do we really have a user manual with all these things?
No, I don't think anyone goes. At least I don't go through the user manual.
See, sorry, Sneha. Yes, please go ahead.
But we buying some costly phone means now we have insurance, right? We will check that also.
Correct.
Like we have warranty and now we have insurance for the phone. I think I really faced the issue with my brother's phone. So we claimed that insurance also.
Got it. So these are all when you wanted to replace something or you wanted to get things sorted. So in order to know that there is an issue which you have to sort it out and you want to check whether your warranty and your insurance covers, that will be your second step. But first step is, as Prabha said, you will go and Google it. As Ruchi said, I don't think I have ever seen somebody looking into the user manual. At least I don't see the user manual. So that's how we all tend to do. We either Google it. Today, the other fancy thing or the most jazzy word is in terms of going into YouTube to see some videos. Has somebody else faced the same issue in the same type of mobile phone? And what was the fix? So we all tend to watch some videos. So why am I talking about all these things now? Is it irrelevant? Not really. What I'm saying is understand your users. See what kind of documentation they need and prepare documentation accordingly. That is where we say working software over comprehensive documentation. Even if you wanted to create 50-page user manual, If your users are not using it, then there is no point. This also has another element that you will have to consider. If the document is something relevant to compliance, say there is a rule that none of the products, say a mobile phone or anything, it cannot go without a user manual into your purchase, into your sale. That is a compliance aspect. Whether the customer uses it or not, as per compliance, we should have it. At the same time, now as an organization, moving towards the change in the world, change in the market, I will also have to make my own legal options in terms of creating the videos in YouTube, so that if at all there is an issue, people don't see videos posted by somebody else. Instead, they see videos which are from my own authentic company, my own brand, because I give them the proper discussion, proper details. So I also maintain these videos as documentations. So first and foremost, give more. Without your working software, without your mobile phones being delivered, doesn't matter if you have 50-page user manual or if you have 50 videos explaining to how to use the mobile phone. That doesn't matter for the users. You all said that you will be annoyed, you will be frustrated, you will be angry. Yesterday when we said we are going to deliver you just the box with the charger. So nobody is going to be happy without the working software. So emphasis here is for the working software. When it comes to the documentation, keep it as precise and comprehensive, but depending on the market, depending on the users, prepare relevant types of documentation. Documentation doesn't mean it always has to be physically written documents. So you will have to understand your users for that. So for your domain, what kind of documents would be helpful? Is your application being used by internal users or external users?
Both internal users, mostly.
Sorry?
Mostly
They are used by
internal.
both internal and external.
It's both by internal and external. And once you launch a particular feature or application, once you do a production deployment for the new feature, how do you maintain the documents?
So whatever changes are done, it has to be updated. Mostly I prefer when giving to users with the screenshots. That is most preferable.
Okay, so you give documents with screenshots. Fine, Kavya. Where do you maintain them?
It's a common shared location.
Okay. So for internal users, the common shared folder should be accessible. How about your external users? Are they also able to access the common shared folder?
For external users, we normally don't give any documentation. It's an online help.
It's an online help. So after every production release, do you do some trainings for them, for the external users, on how to use the feature that has been launched? Or is it only online help? Whenever they ask a question, you kind of clarify that?
Yeah, not for every release. Only for major release it would be there. Otherwise, there's an online help. They can help themselves.
Okay, not for any major release. Okay, got that. So these are the kind of discussions that you will have to have with your leaders and your users, your business stakeholders, to understand what kind of documentation you want to prepare. Today, you're following all these things. Is that helping? Or will a training to only walk through them, demo them in terms of whatever features has been launched in the current release, will that help the users to adapt to it more easily? Then that is something that you're going to do. That not necessarily have to be a live call. It can also be a recorded video. Now, I'm not saying this you will have to follow. I'm telling you that this is the kind of discussion that you have to have it. To understand, along with the working software, what amount of documentation am I going to give? And because you have two sets of users, what type is going to be preferred by which kind of user? What is the accessibility issues that we'll have to face? So these are the discussions that you will have. And the third manifesto is all about customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Again, coming back to Sachu's experience, because he said earlier he had such experience in terms of waterfall. I'm quoting that again. Initially, when these change requests and all those things came in, that is when your features were fixed. So this is where generally companies tend to negotiate more on contracts rather than having customer collaboration. When a change comes in, the immediate thing is our budget was not agreed for this particular change. That's the first statement that we all get started with. But instead, we want you to do a paradigm shift in terms of understanding what exactly is the reason for this change now. Why is this coming now? Why not earlier? What is the impact if this is not going live? What is the benefit if it is going live? What is the value that we are going to generate for the users when it is going live? You understand the difference between two statements? Both are questions. Now, when I start asking questions like this, which means there's a lot of customer collaboration rather than negotiating them with contracts. Of course, money does matter. Project managers here on the floor will ask me, Mani, you say all these things, but how will I maintain the budget that has been approved? Of course, money does matter. But I'm not saying you cannot discuss about money. But before that, you will have to understand all these things. And then you start discussing in terms of, yes, we agree to this. But however, this was not there as part of our initial agreement and contract. Now, how do we go about this? Either you take away an equal amount of work from the existing ones, or this will be additional so that the cost will be additional as well. So these are the kind of discussions that you will start having rather than starting with a statement stating that this was not agreed earlier, this is not covered as part of our budget. That will not suffice. That will not help you in terms of your customer satisfaction or customer centricity. The first thing that you wanted to touch is make them feel at ease in terms of them being heard. So that will happen only when you start with customer collaboration rather than contract negotiation. The last one is, yes, Dexter.
Yeah, for this third one, isn't it that the right person, right resource to work on this one, to or to talk to the customer? There's a correct person, right? Correct resource. Like me, the developer, I should not talk about like that one or to the customers, right?
Of course, Dexter, see, those things hierarchically, how you follow in your organization, it's not going to change. Because the first step in terms of getting the change will be by the product owner or business analyst when it comes to an agile way of working. So when they know that there is a change that is coming in, and if it is too huge a change, which is disrupting your initial plan or initial costing, then that is the kind of conversation that they're going to have with the project managers as well. How will they know that? Only when they discuss with the team, they will know what is the effort involved, what is the deviation that we have, etc. And basis that the project managers will be involved. And then the product owner plus project manager, delivery manager will have this conversation with the customers. There is no change in terms of who talks about contract aspects with the customer. We don't want everybody in the team to talk about contracts. That is not the intent here. Hope it answered, Dexter. Perfect. And the last one is responding to change over following a plan. Why do we have to respond to change instead of following a plan? Yes, Dexter.
Yeah, like you said on the previous slides, Agile is scope is variable. Scope is what do you call that? Scope is variable, right? And schedule
you tell me. You
other
tell
way
me.
around. Other way around. So I think like following the plan, like for this one, we have a schedule. We have the scope for this schedule, but the scope is too large or too big. Too it's not feasible to that schedule, aligned to the schedule. So we respond to change. We check on the resource and the amount of scope to do that to do that task, to do that work. So we change, we do the change. So we don't follow the plan. We just do follow what is on the table, like the we change on the depending on the scope.
Okay.
I hope you got that.
I got it, Dexter. I'll come back in terms of the explanation after hear from others. Yes, Expeditor.
Yes, regarding the following a plan and responding to change, if everything goes according to plan and we have the mitigation, responding to change should be minimal. So it should not be that the responding to change should be more according to following to a plan. If it is planned properly and you have a mitigation, so responding to change should be minimal.
Okay.
So
I'll just will reiterate and bring it back to everybody's memory. What are we focusing here with respect to manifesto? What is the most preferred aspects? What is there on the left or what is there on the right?
Left.
Left.
We value left.
It's left.
Which means we are going to prefer more about responding to change. There's no minimal aspect of responding to change. There is going to be more preference is going to be given to responding to change. And this is one place where I said, I want you all to ask me a question when I showed you the paradigm shift. Dexter did bring that aspect, but that was a statement rather than a question. Do you have any questions with respect to what we saw in the paradigm shift versus this last one?
Yes, the schedule is fixed, right? So, how do we respond to the
Is
change?
schedule fixed in Agile?
Yeah.
Sure, 100%. What is variable then?
The scope.
Okay.
No, feature is variable.
Features is variable.
Okay. What is fixed?
The resources and schedule is the
Resource
fixed.
Yeah.
So resources and schedule is fixed and your
Scope
features
is
is
just variable. Schedule and resources are fixed for Agile.
correct. Yes, Dexter. So when we say features is variable, nothing but your scope is variable. Only
Yes.
when your scope is variable, that is scope is changing. That is when you get to respond to a change, right? And why are we saying following a plan? Plan and schedule are not the same. This is where another myth in industry, we all felt, okay, plan is what is my schedule, so I will not change my plan. I am taking a change of scope. Now, how will I stay with the same plan? The statement means that, right? Responding to change over following a plan. When I am changing, when I am responding to change, how will I change, not change my plan? Shall I have the same plan as earlier? Will that work? Yes, Dexter?
Yes, like I need this is this is the chance to explain myself before. What I said is that scope is just variable, right? So the schedule or the plan is to stick that way. So we will just adjust the scope. Meaning the scope is so if the scope is big, we adjust it to little so that we can deliver on the same schedule with the same resource. So that's what I so it's we will deliver a chunk of what is the original scope. So we just deliver a module, so like that. But we
Perfect,
still
Dexter.
deliver like for the import module, or we deliver a sub of that module, so that we still deliver that module to the user.
Got it, Dexter. Thank you for that. Yes, Chris?
I'm not sure if this is related to a following a plan, but I'm just only stating an example. Let's say I have a hot fix to deploy and I need Ruchi's approval, but since I'm supporting US nighttime and Ruchi is already asleep, can Jason take over the approval just for me to deploy the hotfix?
Yes, it does make sense. All you're saying is you need an approval. As per process, it is supposed to be Ruchi, or as per plan, it is supposed to be Ruchi who has to approve it. But because she works in a different time zone and you want the approval right now, Now Jason takes over and approves it so that you're able to deploy it.
Okay, thank you.
Now my question was, if I'm responding to change, will I stick to the same plan? I have a plan initially. Here it says responding to change over following a plan. Does it mean I'm going to ditch my entire plan which was made earlier? How can you resonate it back to the paradigm shift that we saw in the morning? Anything contradicting?
Yeah, that is what was my question, that when the schedules are fixed, how can they achieve this?
Okay. Thank you, Kavya, for that. I'll hear from others before I give my 2 cents. Sachu, anything that you would like to add from your experience from the past?
No, it is like, okay, it all boils down to what is the impact of the change and what is the value that it brings. Okay, based on that, definitely, okay, it is going to change, or like it is going to extend the plan. Okay, if it is not, okay, and we will be trying to adjust. Okay, by bringing in the change, what is that we are going to take out, and then we are going to make the plan to follow the plan.
Others, any views from your end? Do you feel it contradicting? Answer yes or no. Put a thumbs up if you feel yes, put a thumbs down if you feel no, it is not contradicting. Put a thumbs up if you feel that it is contradicting. Put a thumbs down if you feel it is not contradicting. Okay, everybody feels it's contradicting so far.
Except Dexter.
Except Dexter, okay. Okay. That's where I kept reading the statement again and again. It is responding to a change. Nowhere it is talking about implementing or delivering a change. Why are we so caught up between delivering, schedule, features? We did see about react versus respond versus proactive. All that we are saying here is responding to a change is important when compared to following a plan. Nowhere we are talking about delivering it on the same D-Day. Just because I came and asked you as a client that I need these changes today, you're not going to deliver them today. You're going to respond in terms of understanding why the change. As Sachu said, you're going to understand what is the impact, benefits, etc. And then you're going to make a decision, as Dexter said, is this something that I can consume it fully and deliver it within the same schedule? Or is there something that I can take it partially? So you're only responding. So if my plan is intact, still, because I'm responding to it, I might say, as per Dexter's example, I might say partially I will deliver it this sprint. In that case, there is an opportunity for me to change my plan. What is the change in plan? I'm not going to reveal that now. I want you to ask me that question when I'm talking about events and ceremonies, particularly during sprint planning. Please make a note of it. Sprint planning is the event name. When we are talking about sprint planning, I really want you to ask me this question in terms of how do I change the plan just because I'm responding to the change. Do you still see this as a contradiction? Were you able to understand? Is it still a thumbs up or is it a thumbs down? Okay, Kavya says thumbs down. Great, Kavya, thank you. Others still trying to decipher, imbibe the information? Ruchi, all clear?
But it still might change our plan, right?
Yeah.
Still might change the plan.
What part of your plan is going to change?
So responding to a change, it can be a positive response also. So if that's a really feature that the customer needs, then we need to include that feature in the current sprint, right?
Yes.
So there will be a change in the plan.
So I'm going to talk about that definitely during sprint planning, Ruchi. And I expect out of all the other 21 people, you to ask me this question again.
Okay.
Okay. So keep a note of it and keep a tab of it. So nowhere Agile says or the Agile Manifesto says we are not going to change a plan. That's what we said time and again as part of Manifesto. It's responding to change over following a plan. Nowhere we are saying we will not change the plan. But what part of the plan is going to change? We will see that during a sprint planning event. Okay. But are you clear where this responding to change coming from? Is that statement making sense? You are only responding to change. It is not that you are delivering the change. I heard somebody, was it Sachu or Murli? Okay. So these are the 4 values. Just for ease of explaining, I said value 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there is no specific order. Everything is equally important. If at all you are talking to someone, somebody is asking you, tell me the 4th value. You can tell any one out of these 4. It is not necessary that you should always say responding to change or following a plan as your 4th value. Everything is equally important. Just the order is maintained to explain it. There is no particular priority or order maintained for the 4 values. The next one is Agile principles. We have 12 principles and all the 12 principles will resonate more with what we just spoke. And again, coming back, sorry, this was something that I wanted to cover. When I say responding to change, without having customer collaboration, without having individuals and interactions, I'll never be able to respond to change. Do you all agree? Until and unless I collaborate with my customers and understand the impact benefits that Sachu called out, I will not be able to respond to the change. I'll still react. I'll be fuming in terms of getting those changes in the mid of the development work. Okay, I'll not be able to respond. So I'll need customer collaboration for that. And again, only with customer collaboration, I'll not be able to make any decisions. I'll have to come and discuss it with my team to know what is the effort involved. Do I really need to have a change in plan or not? All these discussions has to happen, which means individuals and interactions. I'm not sticking to the process stating that the development has already started, so I'll not pick up any new change. So within even the values, you're able to connect the dots between all the 4. Is that becoming evident more and more that you understand this and see this? Prabha, is that clear? Okay. So next one is the 12 principles. And when I say 12 principles, all these 12 principles is going to resonate back again with the values that we just spoke about. And this is another commonality which any flavor of Agile is going to follow. And the first and foremost, as we always say, customer. Without customer, there is no business. So customer satisfaction is something that we are going to focus. And how are we going to get or achieve the customer satisfaction? That is going to be by continuous delivery. I'm saying I'm moving into Agile way of working, and I'm moving into Agile way, which means the first month I deliver something to my customers. I have some features deployed in the end of 1 month. And after the end of 1 month, then the next 3 months, there is nothing that is getting delivered. And then 4th month, I'm delivering something. And then another 6 months, no delivery. Then again, on the 7th month, I'm delivering something. Then it takes 8 months. Then I go for another delivery. That is not going to satisfy my customers at all. It has to be continuous. It has to be sustainable. So if I start something, I'm going to continue to do that. So only by continuous delivery, I'm going to focus on customer satisfaction. It is not by any other modes or means. That is your first principle. Second one, welcome changing requirements even late in development. Again, connected back with responding to change over following a plan. And why do I say late in development? How am I going to change the plan? Without changing the plan, how can I incorporate? All these questions we are going to answer to you in your sprint planning event. Yes, Dexter.
Number two, you said welcome changing requirements. How about new requirements?
Yeah, new requirements also.
Okay.
How do you handle that is something that I will cover it as part of sprint planning in Scrum framework. Okay. All that you will have to remember is welcome that change, which means you're responding to the change. Welcoming is nothing but responding. So that is what your second principle is all about. Third one, working software is delivered frequently, either weeks or months. That again varies from domain to domain. So why is that? Related back again to the value. Next time coming back to you, just give me a minute. Which value you want to connect it with? Which value speaks about the working software?
The second value that we are having the working software
Or comprehensive or precise documentation.
over precise documentation. Yeah.
Absolutely. So working software over comprehensive documentation. So here again, I'm saying working software has to be delivered frequently because only when it is continuous, my customers are going to be satisfied. So that is what this frequent means. And why should this be in weeks or months? That is one of the major challenge from waterfall way and agile way that we are trying to address. Depending on your business, depending on your needs, your business needs, your users' needs, you are going to set the frequency. It is not set on stone in terms of always going for a 2-week release or a monthly release. That varies from domain to domain, business to business. We all as users have experienced this. Where have you experienced this? Working software coming in frequently to you.
Updates, regular updates.
Mobile updates.
Mobile
Absolutely, mobile updates.
Or
And do
even-
you? Yeah, Kavya.
Yeah, I mean system updates.
System updates and mobile updates. And how frequently do you get your mobile updates?
Very frequently.
Very frequently. Yeah, Jason, thanks for that. I'm going to ask that question. How many apps do you have in your mobile?
Too many.
Too many, not even countable now. Okay. And all these too many applications, do they have the delivery at the same frequency?
No.
So it varies from application to application, which means it varies from domain to domain. Say you are having a banking application in your mobile. Until unless it is critical, you will not have major updates coming your way. If you have some gaming applications, then just try to resonate in terms of what would be the frequency at which you get the changes. If it is an e-commerce, then think about its frequency. And now relate it back with your domain. How frequently does your users need these changes? I cannot say my users don't need any change. I can go early once, which means we are out of market. In today's world, early ones, people will forget about me. Because today I don't even remember how many applications I have in my mobile. I hardly use about 5 to 10 applications in a given week. But I might have about 40 to 50 apps. So at least a notification about an update will remind me that yes, I have an app for this. So my users also need to know that I'm there in the market so that they don't go away from me or to the competitors. And that is also a reason you will have to fix your frequency in terms of your releases, which means you're going to generate value for them, out of which you're also going to get because you get a return on investment. Your organization spends, say, $100 to develop this feature. By the usage of it, they are going to earn back $150 or $200. Or at least $100 to nullify the cost associated to it. So everything has a value for the user and also value for the organization. And ultimately, that is you. There's no organization without you. So you are part of that beneficiary. Clear? Why working software has to be delivered frequently? Now, This is another conversation that you are going to have. Not everybody here, but at least the first level has to be with senior leaders, business analysts or product owners. Has to have the first level conversation to know what frequency they'll have to set for the releases. And then the second level has to happen with the project managers. And then the third level has to happen with the team members so that you kind of bring everybody to the same page. But before you make a decision, you cannot bring it to the team level. And that is where you are having between the business stakeholders, that is your product owners, business analysts, and your senior leaders to identify the frequency. So the fourth one is business and development team to work together. This is another important thing because we want everybody onto the same page. So we want the product owners and business analysts to work closely with the development team. So they kind of convey what is expected and they also get what is expected or required from the users. So we want the developers, testers, and the BAs to work together hand in hand so that there is no much deviation or ambiguity with respect to the understanding. Sustainable development, I already spoke about this. You cannot be very haphazard in terms of first month and then 6th month and then 10th month. You will have to be continuous and have a constant pace. It has to be a rhythmic one. Working software is a primary measure of success. I don't have any other measure in terms of saying whether this team is successful or not. Only your working software, your release of your working software is the measure of success. Face-to-face conversations. Yes, Chester? I don't hear you at all, Chester. Is that only me? Anybody else? Just can you confirm?
No, we don't hear.
Okay.
No, we don't hear.
We can't hear.
Thank you, Sachu and Ruchi.
Here.
Just try to put your question on the chat. I'll finish this point and then I'll take that up. Face-to-face conversation is the best form of communication. When Agile principle was formed in the year 2001, in that particular decade, they felt that it works only for co-located teams. And they said face-to-face. But over a period, distributed Agile itself is a culture that has been built. And today, particularly after COVID, not people from the same city or state works under same roof. We all have a culture of working from home, working from office, different setups happening. So face-to-face communication, when we mean here, at least have one meeting, one ceremony in a video call with your videos enabled. And the only intent or psychology behind this is knowing people as people. When you just switch off the videos and when the person is talking, if you're only hearing it, depending on your mood, you will assume certain elements. That is similar to reading a mail. The person who has sent the mail would have sent in a very different context, different tone. But if I came out of a very happy meeting where all my requests were approved, where all my questions were answered and I've been appreciated, the way I read that mail would be very softer. Whereas I was in a meeting where that was an escalation meeting, there was too much firing there that was happening from the client end and from the calls. Now I'm coming out of that meeting and if I'm going to read the mail, the tone, however soft it was written, I will still read it in the sense which I wanted to. Now Arul Sam is giving a smile. I think he had a lot of experience on that. So that is where it is important to always have at least one meeting on video so that we have better connectivity bonding rather than only going by words. You get to see people, you know, you empathize, you understand where they're coming from. Even the voice, if it is very rough, still bases the person's body language, you will know what the person actually means. The vice versa also works. Right? That is what is face-to-face conversation. Chester, yes, you wanted to. Not able to hear you, Chester. Okay. The eighth one is projects are built around motivated individuals who should be trusted. As I said, there are two motivational aspects. One is extrinsic and one is intrinsic. Always extrinsic will not long last. You all see a lot of motivational, lot of inspirational videos as part of statuses, etc. But they will not last longer. Motivation has to come intrinsically and for which you are one of the key players. As a team member, you have larger role to play to build that intrinsic motivation amongst each one of you. So until and unless you do that, we will not feel happier to come to work the very next day. Ninth one is continuous attention to technical excellence and good design. Why is this important? Going back to the video that you all saw yesterday, when you said, yes, electric screwdrivers were used. Sehul was very specific about it when he mentioned. So always have an eye towards what is the latest update as part of technology. Is there something that would be useful? But it is not like whatever I ask will be provided. There is always a budget constraint. At least the organization will think through in terms of how this is going to benefit, how it is going to help in terms of value generation and return on investment, for which you always have to be very mindful and very keen in terms of the technical excellence aspects and the technology developments that is happening in market. 10th, simplicity, the art of maximizing the work not done. That is very essential. That's what the principle says. What did you understand from this? Why am I talking about work not done as an art? We are all striving towards work getting done, right? That's where productivity booster is what we saw. But again, why am I contradicting saying art of maximizing work not done? Project managers on the floor. Is it okay if my team is not going to deliver? Yes, Sachu, go ahead, please.
No, it will carry forward and then it will bring down the efficiency, because already like for each sprint we plan this much of amount, and if it is a carry forward, then my velocity will go down. No matter however it is. If it is not delivered, like 100% not delivered, no, it is not delivered.
Okay. That is one aspect. But why do I say amount of work not done has to be maximized? Yes, Dexter.
Yeah, for that, like if we deliver a task or software that is not working, or is working but it's not bug, it's not tested correctly, so it will sum up or add up on the work on your next batch of work. So it will add up. So if you maximize that, by maximizing that, you should deliver or test first all the what should be delivered, so that the next batch will not add up to that one. So
Okay.
you're just maximizing your work.
Yeah. Anyone else want to attempt? What do you understand from that statement? Why should I maximize the work not done? And we
You
call
want to
that.
focus on the most important parts to deliver.
Absolutely, Jason. Only intent is I wanted to maximize my focus on work that means a lot to my users, that is more valuable to my users. That's what Dexter also was explaining. I wanted to do first what is going to be used by the people, what is most important. So I might get 10 different items to be worked upon. Always ask a question, what is the highest value generator out of it? Where do I start focusing? It is not random. I cannot just like that work on fifth item because I like it and then I leave the first item. Because if the first item makes more value to my users, then it is not necessary for me to focus on the fifth item now. Not all requirements that comes my way has to be developed. That is the first culture we will have to start fostering as a developer, because till date, if you have been in Agile, waterfall method, we would have got a document, we would have started developing all that was there as part of the document because that's what we were asked to do. But now we are going to understand the purpose behind it, the value that it is going to generate, even before we say, yes, we can do this or we can't do this. And we make that decision collectively. It is not because, okay, Vani has said, no, I don't like it, so I will not do this. No, that's not the intent. I personally don't like this because this sounds so complex, so I will not do this. No, that is also not the intent. However complex or simple doesn't matter. I'll only focus on what generates value to my users. That is where we said art of maximizing work not done. In simple, in your traditional ways in the past, I think people who have been working in industry for more than 10, 12 years now would have heard this. Whenever we ask people, what is a priority? They give you 3, 4 works. And you ask priority, they will say, everything is of high priority. Everything is expected yesterday. That's a common statement that we get to hear in industry, right? You get to hear about that work this morning. And when you ask, okay, when is this expected? This was expected yesterday. Now Dexter is enjoying this and then he's smiling. So these are some things that we will have to change in terms of our language. That is where we wanted to understand the purpose behind that specific work, which will let us know what is the priority of it, what is the value generated out of it before we take any decisions to work on it. The next one is self-organizing teams. Over a period when you have adopted Agile, when the maturity level increases, no more the team is requiring anybody to keep pushing the work. No more it requires anybody to come and say that this has to be done, that has to be done. This is more become a pull culture. This, I'm putting a disclaimer right away. However you want to mental map it, put it in red color, put it in bold, put it with a higher font text, whatever you want, whatever works for you, do it in that way. Double underline that. This will happen only when the team's maturity level increases with respect to Agile adoption. This cannot happen on day one. Don't go to your managers and say, the trainer has said, Agile means self-organizing team. So I will only do whatever I want. You are not supposed to tell me anything. Please don't go with that complaint to your managers. Okay. This happens over a period of time. After some maturity level, that's where we keep constantly, the consultants comes and then assess in terms of where the maturity level is in terms of adoption before they kind of give you. So what you can do right from day one, I will tell you during the Scrum events, all the 5 events when I explain, I will tell you what you will do it by yourself. Clear? So please make a mental map, mental note of this. As I said, put it in red, bold, double underline, however you want, double quotes, put it in a font size of 54, whichever works for you, but keep it very strong and clear. Don't go and fight with your managers or delivery leads. The last one, at regular intervals, the team reflects, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. This is what we call as inspect and adapt. We will see this in detail as part of our 3 pillars of Scrum. Are we good so far? Any questions on the values and principles? If you think about these values and principles, each and every one will be interconnected. There is no such principle, no value which can exist by itself. Some way or the other, to achieve it, you need the support of another principle. Yes, Dexter?
Is it like a prerequisite of this? Like
Yes.
for the number 2, prerequisite number 1, 3, prerequisite 1 and 2. Like that.
Any flavor of Agile you follow, these both are mandatory, the foundation base for you to follow or adapt Agile. You will have to stick to the values and principles. Irrespective of whether you follow Scrum, Kanban, DSDM, whatever you follow, this is common. And where can you refer to this? There is something called as agilemanifesto.org. That is the website name. You can refer these 4 values and the principles there. If you are interested, you can refer to it. It's agilemanifesto.org. Okay. I know that it has been too much theory. Now it is time for an activity. I know we have only 10 minutes in our time today. So we will keep 5 minutes. Let's not go beyond that. Now, what each one of you are going to do quickly is, I'll give you 3 minutes. You're going to write 2 truths and 1 lie about yourself. 2 truths, 1 lie about yourself. You will write it in your paper or put it in your notepad, wherever it is. You type it and keep it. And then after 3 minutes, each one of you are going to talk. You will not tell what is truth and what is lie. You will just say 3 statements. Others will identify whether it is truth or lie. Clear? What you're going to do? You will write 3 statements which should have minimum 2 truths, 1 lie. There's no maximum. 2 truths, 1 lie is mandatory. And once your turn comes in after 3 minutes, when I open to the floor, each one of you are going to tell the 3 statements. You say, for example, if Expedito starts, he will tell his 3 statements. He will not say which out of these 3 are truth and which out of these 3 are lie. But the others in the team, you're going to identify which is truth and which is lie. Clear? So on that note, your time starts now. I've started the timer for 3 minutes. I know already few seconds are gone, so I'm making it 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Write your own 3 statements, 2 truths and 1 lie should be there. All done? It's the last 59 seconds. As the others are writing, who wants to go first quickly? I'll just note down the names. Okay, Dexter. Dexter goes first. I'll put your adjective Kanishka for saving time. It's kind Kanishka second. Simple Sachu's third. Paper Lisa's fourth. Radiant Ruchi is fifth. Nice Nitya is sixth. Chassis Jason is seventh. Selfless Stephen is eighth. Kavya, your name is much faster than putting your adjective, so I'm writing it that way. Excuse me for that. Prabha again. Then Sneha also on that window. Okay. Varun has both the same. Well, how about others? Expedito? I'll put your name for 13.
Yes.
Okay. Joanne, 14th. Chris is 15th. Murli, I didn't see you, so I'm making you 16th. Okay, Kandipan, I'm making you kinetic Kandipan, and that is 17. Nitya, is your name mentioned already? Nitya Ruchi is covered. Who is missing? So we have till 17. Let's see from there. Yeah. Let's start Dexter. You will see, you will only tell your statements. Okay,
Yeah.
Arul, Sam, I have not mentioned. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm afraid of heights. I had and recovered from COVID-19. I went to Middle East.
I went to Middle East is false. Rest 2 is true.
Is that right, Dexter?
No.
Oh my God.
I think the false is the COVID.
Correct.
Wonderful. Because I think Dexter mentioned he didn't recover from COVID. Correct?
Yeah, I had and recovered. But that's
Okay.
false.
Okay. Good.
Nice one.
Thank you. Thank you, Dexter. Who goes next? Kind Kanishka.
Yeah. I'm very helpful. I like to work after hours. I'm very smart in programming.
Second one is
Not
false.
true.
I like
Yeah,
to work
I like to
after
work
hours.
Second, second one is false.
Easy one, Kanishka.
Was it correct, Kanishka?
Everyone's correct. They all know me.
Okay. Excellent. Great. Who goes next? Third was supposed to be Simple Sachu.
So I don't get angry easily. I'm self-organized and I'm a non-vegetarian.
Third one is wrong.
I'm
Second
non-vegetarian.
one.
Third one is
Second one.
false.
Vegetarian.
Second one is false.
Was it correct, Sachu?
Yeah, that one
Wonderful.
is correct.
Wonderful.
I didn't know.
Good to hear that. Fourth, who was that, Isa?
Okay, I love traveling, going out. I know how to swim. I have failed grades.
Third
Second
one.
one.
Second one,
Second
how
one
to
is
Oh,
false.
swim. Second one.
swim.
Second one.
Everybody knows swimming except us.
Is that
Yeah.
correct, Isa?
Yeah, number 2 is the false one.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Who is next? Is that Ruchi?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fifth one is Ruchi. Yeah.
I love to travel with my family. I like reading books. I like to dance.
Third one.
Third
Third one.
dance.
Third one.
Third one.
Third one.
I guessed.
Third,
Was that correct, Ruchi? Was third one the false?
Yes.
Okay. So Suchi is not a book reader. She doesn't like that. Okay.
No, I'm not a dancer.
oh,
Dancer.
Oh, you're not a dancer, is
Not
it? Okay.
dance.
Okay. Great. Who goes next? Sixth was nice, Nitya.
So first is I'm lazy. Then I love reading books and I'm a good listener.
First one is
First
false.
one.
First
Lazy.
one.
Yeah, first one.
No,
Third one.
no,
Reading
actually,
books. Reading
I
books.
don't think.
Second one.
Yeah, reading books.
Sneha, that was the only option left. Even after that second one was a question. Come on.
But I think she did not lazy.
Oh,
But the
No.
true fact is she is lazy.
wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks. That was very good. Thank you, Nitya. You made people keep guessing till the last minute. Great. Next, JC Jason.
All right. I'm a licensed pilot. I speak 3 languages and I have 4 kids.
Second one.
Second one.
Yeah.
4 kids.
I don't speak 3 languages.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Pilot. Nice one.
So now everybody knows whom to approach if you have to travel. So Jason has a private jet. He's also a licensed pilot.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't. But if you have one, I'll fly it for you.
Sure, Jason. That will be the next target. Don't worry. We'll have a common goal to achieve. Great. Who goes next after Jason? It's selfless Sehul.
I like trying different food. I like romantic movies, and I like traveling.
Second one. Second one is a lie.
Second one.
Romantic movies.
That'll change. You're here for your marriage vacation, right? Don't worry. Next time when we meet, similar to Dexter, you will say you're watching all Korean series because of your princess. So I'm waiting for the
She
day.
loves Korean series.
Oh, excellent. Okay, who goes next? Kavya, yeah.
I'm talkative. I love singing, and I'm lazy.
I think second one.
Second one is a lie.
No, third. First one is
Third
really
one.
correct.
Yeah,
Third
third
one.
one. I wanted to check.
What was your third one? Sorry.
Third.
No,
I'm
first one is
lazy.
correct. I think second one.
I'm lazy.
Yeah, third one. Okay.
So Kavya is done, and then it's Prabha.
I like to go cycling. I love to eat biryani. I like to read books.
Cycling.
First one.
Second.
First one is
Second
like.
one. Second one.
Yeah,
Second one.
cycling is the false.
First one.
It's second
I know
one.
she goes cycling.
I hate
so
biryani.
Biryani, ah.
I
I hate
biryani.
biryani. That's the truth.
Prabha is cheating. She likes
Yes.
all the
Yeah.
three.
All biryanis she used to order
Yeah.
biryanis for Raj as well. Okay, that is
That's
not.
why.
You're
That's
That
why
is.
going
I
And
Prabha
I
is
don't like
cheating.
biryani.
and in bucket, huh?
Yes.
I don't like biryani.
Ah,
I don't like biryani.
Oh, I'm
Really,
correct. Second
yeah.
one.
we
That
should
was a
call
false
Raj
statement.
now. We should call Raj now. Prabha, you're
No,
lying.
he knows. He knows. Actually, I don't like biryani. I just ordered because he want to order.
But you eat. But you did not like biryani, but you eat.
That's why Raj is ordering biryani.
No. I mean, that's the least preference in my home.
Is it because of the rice?
What?
Because of the rice? Rice? You don't like rice?
No. I like rice. I'm
Okay.
fond of rice.
Okay, we will come back to the activity, and then we will take this offline as well. Yeah, I like the enthusiasm here, but however, on the interest of time. Okay, Sneha goes next.
I'm very strong in my hard times. I'm always open to stranger advice, and I'm very adamant to people.
Third one?
Adamant to people.
Third one?
Yeah, right.
Third one.
Okay, wonderful. And then next was Aruldas.
I'm a hard worker. I will speak faster. I love singing.
அது கூட faster சொல்லலையேப்பா.
Not obvious.
The
All.
third one.
Third one.
If it's true, sample. If it's true, sample.
Second. I know.
No, what I meant as a side comment was even he didn't mention that faster. He was very slow on that, and then he says, I like to speak faster. So that was my comment. Wonderful. Did you identify what was false in his statement?
Yeah, second statement. Second.
Okay, good. Okay, next is expeditor.
I'd like to touch frog. I drink coffee. And I like to eat vegetables.
Third one.
Okay.
The first one.
Yeah, first one.
So expeditor is done. Joanne?
I'm the eldest sibling I stays at home most of the time and I love watching crime documentary.
Watching
First
crime
one.
documentary.
First one.
First one.
The first
Watching.
one.
Oh,
Excellent. Chris?
I know my SQL scripting very well. I love biryani. I am really Philippine president.
Thanks, Chris.
obvious.
Wonderful. That was a nice one, Chris. Okay. Murli?
Weekend I will play cricket. Still I'm single.
இது உங்க வைஃப்க்கு தெரியுமா?
So I will watch football match.
Watch football.
Third one.
Third one.
First one.
Third one.
Third one.
Yeah.
Yes, football.
Wonderful. Kinetic? Kandiban,
I'm a
right?
good listener. Yes. I'm a good listener. I like traveling a lot. Deliver product on time.
Second one.
Third one.
Second one.
Third one.
No, second one.
I'll go to first one.
Second one.
Second one.
Okay. Fine. Shall we move to the next? Kandiban, you had your option. Which was the line?
Second one. Second one.
Second one. Okay. And then we have Arul Sam.
Yeah. I'm lazy. I'm focused. Music lover.
Music lover.
First one.
Lazy.
Third one.
Third one.
Third one.
Arul Sam, which was the right one?
Second one. I'm focused. That's a false statement.
Okay. So we have Ferdinand who is yet to share. Yes, Ferdinand, over to you.
Yes, I'm a good basketball player. I can bake cakes and pastries. I love watching anime.
Number one.
First one. First one.
Yes, yes. Right.
Even if it's false, you don't like basketball.
Wonderful.
Yes, I don't like basketball.
Excellent. So that our activity is done. As always, I'm going to ask you, what did you understand from this? What did you enjoy out of this? Yes, Dexter. We don't hear you, Dexter. You're on mute.
I learned a lot sa fun activity. I learned a lot from each other. So it's very interesting. I'm surprised actually. It's fun.
Good. Thank you. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, the discussion today is getting lighter, meaning that everyone is participating. Yeah, that's what I observe. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, Ferdinand, you have something to share? Okay, perfect. So the intent again, we started with an activity where you get to know each other better. We are closing today's session in terms of getting to know each other better. And this is also something for you to enjoy. People had known you. For most of you, when you said, immediately after you finished your third statement, people were able to identify what was that lie about yourself, which means people have an understanding about you already. And today, out of this activity and morning's activity, you would have got one step closer from wherever you were. You know 10 things, today you would have known 11th thing about the person. You know only 8 things, you have known about 10 more things. There were some assumptions today that got clarified. So small step towards building a larger team, which will work together, which can collaborate much more easier without any apprehension is that thing that we had. And that is what is going to help when you're going back to the flow. All these conversations, I want you all to remember so that you kind of see people as people and not just with the hierarchical role they play. Hierarchy, roles are there for a reason, but over and beyond that, the superset is we are all dealing with human beings and we have another human being whom we are talking with. So have the note and then enjoy your rest of the day and see you all tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Okay?
Thank you, Vani.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.